The Canadian Agricultural Partnership encourages competitiveness, prosperity, and sustainability in Canada's agri-food and agri-products sector. Robert Vondenhoef started the Flying Dutchman's apiary 3 years ago in Caledon, Ontario. An airline pilot with a lifetime interest in bees, the Flying Dutchman's apiary now includes 30 beehives. At the foundation of the business is the Saskatraz bee, a strain of bees native to Saskatchewan that brings unique and valuable traits to his hives and Ontario beekeepers. Working with the partnership, Vondenhoef explains how his new bee recruits can help build his business, fend off the varroa mite, and contribute to the sustainability of Ontario's bee industry.
Well, starting new again after many years away from the bee industry, the challenge was purchasing equipment, and then trying to find the right bee that would help me here in Ontario. In the time I was away, our industry was affected by an Asian mite, and this is problematic for our industry. And there are other challenges, but with the mite, I chose a bee that came from Saskatchewan. It's hygienic, which has a hygienic behavior which helps fight the mites. And then they're gentle, good production of honey is an attribute, and then the survivability of the very cold winters of the prairies.
Vondenhoef credits the partnership with helping him establish his business. He says an efficient application process allowed him to access the funding needed to build a safe working environment for the bees and to bring them to Ontario.
Well, it was a friend of mine that's also a beekeeper. He applied for it, told me about it. I got online, and it ended up being a very user-friendly application, and in a very short order I had my first grant approved, which allowed me to purchase brand new frame equipment and winter wraps, which would keep the bees alive through winter. And then after that I made another application, which was the importation to Ontario of the Saskatraz bee.
In 2020, Vondenhoef drove the 5,000-kilometer round trip to Saskatchewan. Returning with the new bees in the back of his truck, he's eager to establish a new genetics source for Ontario beekeepers.
So working with the partnership, it allowed me to purchase Saskatraz bees in Saskatchewan. They're a healthy bee, hygienic in controlling of the mites, that allowed me to bring these bees here, propagate with them with new queens and nucleuses, and then again with the partnership in purchasing frames and nukes and castles. It's allowed me to replicate all that genetics here on this apiary of mine, and then being able to sell those to other beekeepers here in Ontario.
The Flying Dutchman believes his apiary will take off as beekeepers become aware of the healthy and hardy attributes of his Saskatraz bees.
Working with the partnership has allowed me then to start my apiary, and as I move forward, it's going to allow me to expand and keep my bees healthy and offer bees to fellow beekeepers that will be hygienic, having hygienic behavior against the mites, and hopefully produce lots of honey for other beekeepers. And that's something that would allow me to move forward and expand on and make this a successful business here in Caledon.
The Canadian Agricultural Partnership is a 5-year federal, provincial, territorial initiative. Cost share funding is administered to producers by the Ontario Soil and Crop Improvement Association.